In the wake of the shooting at Donald Trump yesterday, Republicans have shifted their rhetoric, obviously ignoring the fact that they incite and promote and encourage and inspire violence time after time after time after time after time after time after time. That when you hear about an unhinged shooter taking the life of someone or walking into a Walmart or a grocery store in Buffalo, it is invariably, almost every single time, someone inspired by right-wing rhetoric. Even internationally, when insane shootings and massive loss of life takes place, it's almost always a right-wing person. Someone inspired by the rhetoric of Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro or Donald Trump himself. Remember the MAGA bomber, Cesar Sayoc, who's now in prison for like 20 years because of sending pipe bombs through the mail with his kidnapper van just completely covered in Donald Trump stickers? I'm going to read two paragraphs from this Washington Post article, and then I'm going to read you some unhinged tweets and a video from Republicans who are now blaming Biden and the Democrats for what took place yesterday. And it is, I'll just give you the rub, it's because they want to silence critics of Donald Trump. They want us to stop criticizing him and his fascism. They want us to stop talking about how he wants to end democracy in America. They don't want any talk out there about how he has vowed that he is justified to end the Constitution, to terminate all articles, rules, and regulations up to and including the Constitution of the United States. They don't want that talked about. Here's a headline from the Washington Post. Trump allies immediately blame Biden Democrats for their rhetoric. Supporters argued that Democratic portrayals of Trump as a threat to democracy led to the violence, though the shooter's motive was not apparent at the time of their remarks. Top allies of Donald Trump quickly accused President Biden and his supporters of using rhetoric that led to a shooting and potential assassination attempt Saturday at a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, even as Biden condemned the attack and called on the nation to unite against political violence. As the news spread of the shooting at Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, Ron Kaufman, this is at the very end of the article. That was the first paragraph. Here are the last two paragraphs. And then I'm going to read some of the tweets, more than what they included, but some tweets that they included. As the news spread of the shooting at Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, Ron Kaufman, a Republican National Committee delegate from Massachusetts, described the mood in Milwaukee, where Republicans were gathering for next week's nomination convention, as one of shock and disbelief. There's a feeling, Kaufman wrote in a text message, that Democrats' constant pounding on President Trump as a threat to democracy leads to this. How else are we supposed to respond to Donald Trump's threat to democracy that he poses, Ron Kaufman? Are we supposed to be quiet about it? He attempted to end democracy. He incited a violent, deadly insurrection against the country, attempted to overthrow the United States government by overturning a free and fair, settled American election. But we can't talk about that because it might incite violence? No one's saying go kill Donald Trump because he did this. They're saying get to the ballot box, defeat him at the polls, end this once and for all so he will never be a threat to the nation again. That's what we're saying. I am a victim of threats of violence. My wife has been threatened with rape and murder. So they can stow it. As we used to say in the Marine Corps, you can secure that nonsense. Mike Collins, a Republican from Georgia who is just a wild, incredulous nutter butter, tweeted two things that I want to bring to your attention. First, Joe Biden sent the orders. If anything is going to incite violence with the long track record of MAGA idiots who launch into vicious attacks and threats, it'll be something like that that Joe Biden sent the orders of this unhinged Republican white male to kill Donald Trump. He also tweeted this: the Republican district attorney in Butler County, Pennsylvania, should immediately file charges against Joseph R. Biden for inciting an assassination. Interesting that they want total immunity for a president of the United States when it's Donald Trump, but when it's Joe Biden, some county DA can just go down and file charges against Joe Biden, who's a president and apparently has immunity according to the Supreme Court. Remember, in court arguments, they argued, Trump's attorneys argued that Donald Trump, as an official act, could dispatch SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival and be off the hook. No criminal prosecution. And the Supreme Court agreed. So Mike Collins, shut the f*** up. Lauren Boebert went on the news. Kyle Clark, I believe his name is, a local, should be a national reporter, and was confronted by this guy about her blaming Joe Biden directly for this. Watch this.
I'd like to clarify what you just said. Do you believe that President Joe Biden bears any responsibility for what happened today, or does the responsibility for the shooting lie with the shooter?
I do believe that Joe Biden is responsible for the shooting today. Kyle Clark, an innocent supporter of President Trump, someone who loved President Trump and was there exercising their right to support him, lost their life today. Everyone who has called him a fascist, everyone who has called him a threat to democracy, who said that he should be put in a bullseye, as Joe Biden said, they need to have some very deep reflection tonight before another tragedy like this takes place.
I have called Donald Trump a fascist. I have called Donald Trump a threat to democracy. I've done all kinds of reflection, Lauren Boebert. I'm correct. I bear no responsibility for telling the truth. Donald Trump is the one who inspires and incites violence. Donald Trump is the one who promotes and encourages his supporters to assault protesters at his rallies, offering to pay their legal bills if they do so. That's the truth. I'm not going to stop telling the truth. I'm not going to be silenced. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene, as you would expect. She had something to say. Someone just tried to assassinate President Trump. The Democrats and the media are to blame for every drop of blood spilled today. For years and years, they've demonized him and his supporters. Today, someone finally tried to take out the leader of our America First and greatest president of all time. Watch the video. President Trump said, "Fight, so we will." And one of his vice presidential picks, possible vice presidential picks, J.D. Vance of Ohio, said today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. They don't want us talking about him. They want any criticism to be quelled, to be squelched. And I, for one, am not going to stop. Donald Trump is a danger to the existence of this country in the form that we have become accustomed over the course of 248 years. He incites violence. Joe Biden doesn't incite violence. Even Nancy Pelosi, who he mocked after her husband, there was an attempt on his life. Even she said, this is wrong. There should not be political violence against Donald Trump. Joe Biden called Trump on the phone. Democrats are roundly rallying around the concept of jettisoning political violence. And Republicans, Lauren Boebert, if you want to talk about reflection, your party is not reflecting on your past mistakes, on your past behavior, on your past and current policies related to the too easy access to weapons of war that were turned against your dear leader. What do you think out there? You can leave a comment below. We can talk about it there. If you disagree, I'd love to hear it. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I do want to hear from you on this. If you want to support this work, help this channel grow, if you have an extra $2 a month, I would appreciate you considering it. Send it my way. You can click the join button below, become a channel member. You can become a patron over on Patreon, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Like and share this video, comment on this video, make sure you're subscribed. It's going to be a wild 4 months. I have a feeling I'm going to get very little sleep, especially now, more so now. Be genuine. Take care of one another.